So Ruby Franke and Jody Hildebrandt made their very first court appearance today in Utah at 1:30 p.m. Now this was a very short hearing and we didn't really get much information about it because there will be another court hearing on September 21st. But here is what we did get out of it, which is Ruby accusing her children of abuse. Ruby Franke told the court that one of her 6 children had sexually abused at least 20 people, including siblings, cousins, and neighbors. And this is the first time that you want to mention this. You wanted to wait until you were going to prison to say something about what happened. I'm sorry, but that sounds incredibly fishy and suspicious to me. It's almost like she can't stand the thought of being the only one going to prison, so she has to drag one of her children down with her. She also claimed that one of her children started watching pornography at 3 years old. She says this like it's the child's fault. She says that as if the child is the one who's responsible. That's a 3-year-old that you're talking about, Ruby. If the 3-year-old is watching that on the internet, whose fault is that? That's yours. I also feel the need to mention that these kids literally don't have access to technology. They don't get access to the internet.
Really won't get anything this summer. I won't be able to go anywhere. I don't have any friends. No iPads, no TV, nothing.
And if they do, it's supervised and then it's taken away from them once they deemed the child has had enough.
She's worked hard. She has started her own vlog and she manages her own Instagram and all of this without her own smartphone.
So it's your fault if that child was watching that. That's on you. A 3-year-old doesn't know any better. How is a 3-year-old going to type that sort of content up? They don't know what that is. So how are they going to get it up on the phone that you don't even let them have? If that was on the phone, it's because you put that there. Because neighbors who lived on this street were frequently calling CPS to the house. And they all breathed a collective sigh of relief when she was arrested. Did any of these neighbors accuse any of Ruby's children of this behavior? No, they did not. What they said is that they were worried that Ruby's children were going to come out of that house in body bags. But something I think is important to mention is the fact that her definition of pornography is very skewed.
Hey, Grizzle says she said the song Low by Flo Rida was P. Oh, yeah, I think you're right. So you're right. Maybe her definition is a little bit skewed.
Something that the Dad Podcast Challenge also touched on is the fact that Jody and Ruby were wearing 2 completely different colored jumpsuits. And this was for a reason.
Red is must be escorted. Yellow is medical. Okay, interesting. Very interesting.
So Jody was wearing a red jumpsuit, and a red jumpsuit is commonly worn by prisoners who have been designated as high security or maximum security inmates. She's done for. She's going to prison 100%. Ruby is as well, but she was wearing yellow. And a yellow jumpsuit means that the inmate is held on a medical hold. So she's most likely lashing out on other inmates. Jail documents showed that she had been moved from a holding cell where she would be joining the proceedings remotely and into a medical block at Purgatory Correctional Facility. Now to me, this seems like she's going to try and plead some sort of mental illness. She's going to try and plead some form of insanity. Either to relinquish responsibility or so that she can lessen the punishment. But the good news is that both Jody and Ruby are being held without bail. The judge ordered that Franke will be held without bail. The question of whether she'd be released on her own reconnaissance surfaced earlier in the week when a court assessment was filed that recommended she be released and monitored pending trial. And in official court documents from the hearing, Jody is apparently suffering from a life-threatening medical condition. Comes now the defendant by and through her attorney Douglas D. Terry, who hereby moves the court for an expedited detention hearing in this matter. This motion is made on the following grounds. Since being incarcerated in this case, defendant has experienced a life-threatening medical issue resulting in her hospitalization for several days. I don't believe that for a second. Jody has not experienced a life-threatening medical issue in the 6 days that she's been held. Both Ruby and Jody are playing the same card. I know for a fact that Jody said to Ruby, hey, you should be put in medical hold. And then she took her own advice and decided to be like, oh, I've also got a life-threatening medical condition, so you can't really charge us. You can't throw us in prison. That is exactly what's happening.
Jody is a terrifying, powerful, convincing person that has a lot of influence, and a lot of people believe anything and everything that she says. She systematically destroyed my reputation and my credibility, and kind of used previous problems that I was facing as a teenager, being angry and sad and angsty, and capitalized on that as a reason that anything that I say is not true.
It's not gonna work. I hope they genuinely rot in prison for the rest of their lives, and that's all I have to say.